Very nice. Well, hello, my name is Ed Hawks, and this is the 22nd edition of Listen Up Illinois on UPTV. We're here at the City Council Chambers in beautiful downtown Urbana, Illinois. And today, this is the first Irish music that I've had on in 22 shows. So I'm glad to finally get some Irish music on the show. That first tune, I believe, was an Irish tune. Is that
Irish Washerwoman?
It's a pretty standard Irish tune, Irish Washerwoman, that probably a lot of people have heard on cartoons or TV shows or whatever. And today we have on the fiddle right now we have Joe Rednour, and on the guitar here we have Jeff Runyan. So is there a band name?
R&R.
R&R for Runyan and Rednour, I guess. Okay. Well, earlier you were telling me you kind of had an interesting story about how you guys met and started playing tunes together. So maybe you could share that with people.
Well, I was to the point where I was about ready to give up playing music. I'd played bluegrass and folk music for years, and I just couldn't find a fiddle player because my brother lived too far away. And I left a restaurant one night after talking to my wife about it, and pulled out in front of a truck and had a little accident. It turned out it was Joe's son, Jacob, and when they came to pick him up, I met Joe, and
we started talking and found out that he liked playing the guitar. And I happened to be a fiddle player that was looking for a guitar player, and it worked out real well.
Yeah, it was kind of like the universe was calling or something. It just kind of one of those things. So.
It's been about 5 years ago. And
a little car accident turned into a musical collaboration.
Yep, we refer to it as the Big Bang.
Well, nobody was hurt, I guess.
No,
and,
no.
Now there's some great music to be played. So you want to go ahead and do some more tunes?
We're going to get Joe to play the Scottish small pipes. Do a tune called Campbell's Farewell to Red Gap.
Well, while you got the pipes out, I guess we could maybe, can you tell people a little bit about the pipes, kind of how they work, and people are used to they've seen I think the bigger pipes, but maybe not the smaller pipes.
First of all, everybody seems to think of bagpipes as the big Highland pipes. Well, there's a whole world of bagpipes out there. Just about every country has their own pipes. There's Irish Ilian pipes, there's Scottish Highland pipes, Scottish small pipes, and that's what these basically are, Scottish small pipes. And there's English Northumbrian pipes, and they're all different.
Have a different sound.
Different sounds, different techniques, different ways of playing. These are mouth blown. I blow in a blowpipe, and it fills the bag. Then I have 3 drones. And unlike the Highland pipes, which are all, the drones are all B, you have a bass and 2 tenor B flats on a Highland set. The small pipes, you have a bass and tenor that's in the key that you're playing, but then you have the 5th here. And so you have more of a chord going on the small pipes than you do the Highland pipes. And they're a lot easier to play. The Highland pipes are quite a workout physically. You've got to really blow a lot of diaphragm work. They're real loud, but these you can just basically puff into them and just keep the air up, and they're a real pleasure to play. And they're meant to be played indoors with fiddles and guitars, and they're real mellow, sweet sounding instrument. Unlike the big Highlands, which were meant, they call them war pipes, they were meant to be played out on the battlefield.
So what, are you restricted as far as what keys you can play in?
Yeah, there's only 9 notes on Highland pipes and Scottish small pipes. So they're in Mixolydian mode. So you're basically tied into mostly Scottish music, whereas the Irish pipes and the Northumbrian pipes have the full 2-octave scale, and so you can do a lot more with the Irish and Northumbrian pipes, but get the real neat AG modal tunes and stuff out of the Highland and small pipes.
Now, do you have to change the tunings on the drones, or they just stay the same?
They stay the same. There's tuning pins and slides to get them in tune with the chanter, but no, you don't change the drones now. Like I say, the Northumbrian pipes, there's tuning pins where you can change the drones, but not on small pipes.
Now, does the weather impact the tuning on those
Oh,
things?
yes. Yes, these aren't quite so bad because these have plastic reeds in them, so they're quite a bit more stable, but I've had sets of small pipes with cane reeds in them, and they're a nightmare. You sacrifice a little bit of tone by going to the plastic reeds, but it's so much nicer to be able to pick them up and play them without having to fight with the reeds.
Right.
The cane reeds, that's why a lot of the alien pipers have problems, like Patty Maloney, when he comes over here. If he's playing in Colorado, a lot of times you'll see him pick up the penny whistle and do a lot on the penny whistle because it's so hard to keep those alien pipes in tune.
Okay. Well, you have another tune for us?
Yeah, let's do the set of pipe tunes. There's 3 in this set. The first one's called What Say the 42nd, second one is Scotland the Brave, and the last one's Battle of Waterloo. That's a real common thing with Scottish and Irish music, where they put several tunes in a set. Sometimes it can go, 3, 4. I've heard 20-some songs put together, where at that point I can't discern when they're moving from one to the next. But
Yeah, that's a little different. Like in old-time music, people will usually play just one tune for a half hour.
mhm.
But then the Irish people seem to like to either string several together, or their tunes are a lot shorter when they have sessions, it seems like.
Mhm.
And the Scottish, well, they'll put maybe 12 or 15 songs in a row and play them. They're really good about lots of songs in the sets.
You want to play a fiddle tune here, Joe? How about
Sure.
St. Anne's Reel?
Speaking of old-time music, I guess.
Yep.
So were you in drop D on those
Yes.
Irish tunes?
Yeah,
So you get a little drone
It
that
sounds
way,
a little
yeah.
better. It fills it out a little more. Okay. Speaking of fiddle tunes and Irish music, this next set is a set of 3 tunes that we put together. They're Irish polkas. Which the first time I heard that Irish had polkas, it surprised me, but yes, they do. First tune in this set is called Stitches in the Breeches, and the second one is Bill Sullivan's polka, and the third one is John Ryan's polka. For anybody who was really into the movie Titanic, they'll recognize the last tune as being one of the tunes that they played when they were in the hold, when the heroine drank the Guinness. move on to do a few whistle tunes for you. Irish penny whistle. Joe, you want to do something everybody will recognize first? Let's do, why don't we do Londonderry Air?
Londonderry Air, a lot of people recognize it as Danny Boy. But a long time ago, before the words Danny Boy came out, it was called the Londonderry Air.
Or somebody took the melody and put the words
Put the
to it.
words
Right.
to it, exactly.
A penny whistle is a great instrument for Irish music. They're very affordable, for one thing, and
They're easy to carry
they're
around.
easy to carry around, and you can get all kinds of ornamentation to the music on them, and they're just a great little instrument.
Yeah, they have a nice sound, I think. Do they come in different keys?
They come in several different keys, and Irish play mostly in the key of D and G, occasionally C, but this is a D whistle. And this happens to be made out of brass, and it's real nice. And they're tunable. You can tune them like the bagpipes. You pull this out, and it makes it flatter, and push it in, makes it sharp. So
Does the weather affect them as well?
occasionally, and not so much as the pipes, though, because there's no reed involved.
But I guess the metal can still...
Yes, expand and
Expand.
contract. Now,
Yeah, this is I bought this octave mandolin several years ago. It's related to an Irish bouzouki. It's essentially a lower course mandolin. I don't really delve into some of the different open tunings and stuff. I've just got it tuned like a standard mandolin and lower.
Is it the octave lower?
An octave lower. We found that it's a real good combination with this and with the penny whistle, so we're going to play a couple tunes. This one's called Lochleven Castle, and from all the information I can gather, it's from the 1200s.
But that's not actually a bouzouki?
Technically, no. Technically, it's an octave mandolin. Actually, a bouzouki would be, scale-wise, it'd be probably about 4 to 6 inches longer.
they usually have another string too, don't they? 5 strings.
Bouzouki, yeah.
Well, they have, I believe they have the same strings. I'm not an authority on bouzouki's, to be honest with you. The other thing was, I thought, I don't want to be going through an airport and they ask me what's in my case and tell them it's a bouzouki. I don't
Yeah.
want to. Octave mandolin sounds a
Yeah,
little
not
better.
these days.
Yeah.
And we had a mandolin orchestra on here, and the octave mandolin is probably, I would think, part of a mandolin orchestra, the various.
Yeah, there's generally, I think, mandolin orchestras will have, mandolins, mandolas, mandocellos.
Right.
There's even a mando bass.
Right.
I don't think I've ever seen an octave mandolin in
Really?
that situation, but they may. I really don't know. But anyway, this is called Bachleven Castle.
Now, I noticed you kind of had a little arrangement on that. There was a section in there where the penny whistle was kind of, I guess you're recording.
Yeah,
playing some harmonies.
to
or
break
something.
up the tune.
Yeah. Is that something that you work on, or is that spontaneous, more spontaneous?
It's
or-
more spontaneous than anything. Traditionally, traditional Irish music, everybody does the melody, but I like to break it up a little bit and do something different with it.
Joe, you want to move back to the whistle for a tune called Banish Misfortune?
This is an Irish jig. love Irish jigs. They keep your toes tapping, and it's a great dance tunes.
We're gonna do a tune. This was the only tune on the CD where we had Joe switch instruments. It's called "Rosin the Bow." And actually, I think it's a popular Civil War era tune as well.
Yeah, I think actually there was an Abraham Lincoln campaign song. That
Oh, was it
run
really?
to the tune of Rosin the Bow.
Yeah, a lot of those tunes. I've got a couple CDs where both sides, the North and the South, used the tune for their own lyrics and.
Lincoln and Liberty too. I had to think of the name. It was Lincoln and Liberty too, but it was done to the tune of Rosin the Bow.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I usually like to ask people kind of how they got interested in music, and then kind of what led you to go into the kind of the Irish and Scottish realm of music.
I started out listening to a lot of bluegrass music, and a lot of the bluegrass tunes that you hear are old Scottish and Irish tunes that they brought over, and the people settled in the Appalachian Mountains, and it just changed a little bit. But some of the tunes we play, they still play in the Appalachian Mountains, and they maybe changed the key, changed the instruments, but they're still the same tunes.
Right.
And like I said, I started out playing bluegrass, but I fell in love with the Irish style and the Irish sound, and I started playing Scottish and Irish music.
So did you have music lessons as a kid, or did you just kind of pick it up?
The pipes, I belonged to St. Andrews, Springfield, Illinois pipe band, and I played with them for about 7-8 years, and that's where I learned to play the Highland pipes. And the fingering on the small pipes is the same as the Highland pipes, so there wasn't that much of a transition. But it was a lot of fun.
So you're pretty much self-taught on your instruments. Huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I grew up listening to bluegrass, mostly Flat and Scruggs. Still my favorite. You know, everybody thinks of Bill Monroe, and I didn't kind of go that route. Somebody left a Flat and Scruggs record at my parents' house one time, that and a Johnny Cash record, and I listened to those things over and over and over. And then eventually fell in love with the Dirt Band and kind of got into, you know, doing kind of folk and bluegrass type stuff. And I think the first time I heard anything that was really Irish, I mean, I knew the bluegrass had some Irish influence, and the first time I heard anything like that was Dave Bromberg, and started kind of looking at, you know, fiddle tunes more closely. And yeah, I played in a couple different bands in the early 80s in the Peoria area, mostly progressive bluegrass stuff, and just kind of came around to Irish stuff, you know, via Joe, or back around, and got interested in the other mandolin family instruments.
And did you have music lessons as a kid? Or?
I had drum lessons when I was in school for about 2 years, and played in the high school or the grade school band, and my mom forced me to take guitar lessons. Of course, where I grew up, everybody wanted to be Dan Fogelberg, and you know, I listened to a lot of that kind of stuff. And eventually, what happened was I really wasn't that interested in the guitar, but my brother forced me to learn some chords to back him up on.
Because he's a fiddle player.
Yeah, fiddle player and mandolin and that kind of stuff. So, you know, it was forcibly at first, but I grew to like it.
That's the way it is sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah. You want to try off California?
Sure. Penny whistle and octave mandolin have a real good contrast, the bass and the high
Right.
sounds.
How about we try another fiddle tune? You game for Mrs. McLeod's reel?
Sure.
Most of the tunes you're trying to do are kind of from the late 1700s, early 1800s. Is that
Yeah,
the period of most of these? Or
Yeah, for the most part, I
Some of
think.
them are older, maybe.
Yeah, some of them are.
And I believe off to California would be a little newer, but most of them, other than that one, around that time period. This is a perfect example of the tunes that come over and that's been changed a little bit. You'll hear this played over in Ireland and Scotland, and you'll hear it played in the Appalachian Mountains too.
Yeah, there are some words to it, I believe.
Well, they've
Some
changed it.
people-
I think it's, have you ever been courting Uncle Joe?
Uncle Joe, have you ever been to, yeah, courting Uncle Joe, yeah.
going to see the devil, Uncle Joe.
Yeah.
So,
Several
but it's-
different verses to it,
Yeah, but it's one of those.
Is your
tunes.
horse a single footer or something, or a verse like that? Whatever that is, I don't know. Well, you have done, you recorded a CD, I believe, right? I have a copy of right here.
Yes, it's called Auld Alliance.
This AULD spelling of old.
Right.
Alliance.
In fact,
I don't know, hopefully people can see that.
the Auld Alliance title is comes from the fact that when we do the rendezvous, I portray a French voyager and Joe's a Scottish Highlander, and during that period of time they wouldn't have been allied, but there was a period of several hundred years from the 1200s, I believe, to the 1600s, where they were certainly a military alliance against the English. So
The Scottish and the French.
Or the Scottish and the French, which is where the logo with the fleur-de-lis and the Scottish thistle, which I've been told is a little bit of an oxymoron. I don't know which of one of us is the ox and which is the moron, but.
So a rendezvous is a place where people kind of do reenactments of like early 1700s life when the French, is it mostly French?
It can go anywhere from the French and Indian War period up to the fur trapping area, usually around 1700 to 1850. And you'll have people portraying the French and the British and the Scottish and the different time periods.
Yeah, if people haven't ever gone to one, I would highly recommend going. I mean, it's quite amazing to see the lengths that people go to get the equipment,
Yeah.
the tents, and the gear, and what people wear, and to actually have the period style. You can actually feel like you've gone back in a time machine to some degree when you walk around one of those things.
And it makes you wonder things like, why did anybody ever wear short pants?
Yeah, people are wearing loincloths.
And loincloths. Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
why did they do?
We've seen people wearing loincloths that should never be wearing loincloths. So it's just like, don't bend over.
And I wonder how any of us are here using the weapons that they used to fight wars with. To fight the Indians with flintlock rifles, I don't know how any of us could have survived that.
Yeah, it's not quite like Daniel Day-Lewis and.
But it's nice to go to one. If anybody ever has a chance to go to one, you walk through the camps and the smell of the campfire and the smoke from the campfire and
The food.
the smell of black powder, because there's usually some people shooting at the range, and all the different sights and smells, and seeing the people dressed in the old clothes. It's unique.
Yeah, it is.
experience. So.
You want to do a pipe tune, Joe? How about Hector the Hero?
We didn't really talk, talked about the CD, but we didn't talk about how people might get a copy of it, so you said if they go to CD Baby, it's for sale. Imagine if they put in a,
Yeah, you can look it up under all the lines. You can go directly to the webpage at cdbaby.com/CD/RR21.
just RR for the name of your band. And
I don't know whether that was a
21.
coincidence or what, but yeah.
But,
And that'll take them directly there. They're also available at GB's downtown Decatur and Recycled Records in Springfield.
Springfield, okay. Well, I guess we're coming to a close, so I want to thank Joe and Jeff for coming over this morning, driving over from Moweaqua and Blue Mound to be on the show. Plays the first Irish music, and definitely the first Irish and first Scottish music that I've had on the show. So thank you very much for coming over.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll do, Mermaid Song and Eagle's Whistle.
deal. So it was a real nice, the mermaid song and the eagle's whistle.
You want to try Bacon in the Beard?
Sure.
Oh,